Other players come along for the ride.
Yeah. I saw some of the social media stuff put up by Toowoomba. It looks like they chartered a plane to fly from Toowoomba directly to Cairns, and then they jumped on that plane to Townsville here. So, doing things in a really professional manner. Big change tonight, though, for the Flames. Mick Cox is away with the New Zealand 3-on-3 team. So Rachel McCulley steps into the lineup and into the starting lineup, for that matter, alongside Alicia Froling, Ainsley Walsh, Lisa Brennan, and Courtney Perry.
And for Toowoomba, we have Tracy Twiddale, Hannah Lennon, Christina King, Demi Skinner, and Anita Brown to start. The Townsville with first use of the ball, trying to work out of the high post set here.
This is something that, even though Rachel is a quality and an experienced player, that she's not quite familiar with this lineup. So I imagine there'll be a bit of an adjustment period.
First basket for Townsville underway. Toowoomba look to go inside early to King. Nice little spin move. Hand in there by Froling, knocks it away, and it's Townsville ball on the break.
And that's really Alicia's strength there, is being able to guard multiple positions, and her length inside as Lisa Brennan buries the triple.
Toowoomba launched a shot through Skinner, and it is good.
Wow, great shot. That'll give him a bit of confidence. And here's Walsh in transition. She tries to find the deep corner where Brennan was, but Toowoomba got a hand on it, and they come up with a steal.
Skinner goes to work against Perry. Picks up and now through Brown. Kick out to Twiddale for three. It's no good, and McCulley gets a rebound.
Toowoomba's really losing some players here in transition and not respecting Lisa Brennan's shot, which is long on that one. And here's the 3-on-2 for Toowoomba.
Brown finds Skinner for three. Another three is good, and Toowoomba lead 6-5.
Quality acquisition there. Skinner with back-to-back threes, nice and tall, confident shooter. Perry puts it on the deck and doesn't manage to turn it over. Oh, great cut from Brennan there.
Good find by McCulley. That's what she'll bring to this team tonight. She probably doesn't bring that scoring punch that Michaela Cox has, but elite passer through many years in the WNBL. Foul called there on Lisa Brennan. Thought she was fairly straight up there, but referees decided to make that call, and Toowoomba will go to the line.
Yeah, from here she looked like she was vertical, but obviously the referee felt he had a better angle on it. He's saying caught her with the upper body.
Lennon was good with both from the line.
Well, they didn't find Froling on the cut. McCulley kicks it back out to Ainsley Walsh. They feed it that time to Froling, but Toowoomba import. Which one is she?
So that is King, yes.
King with the deflection there.
Toowoomba into a zone here. McCulley finds Brennan off the inbound. Nice two-man game with Froling on the wing out of the on-ball screen, and that's a strong move by Froling for two.
Townsville's a really big lineup when they go with Perry, Froling, and Brennan. Creates a lot of mismatches if they don't find the right body. There's Skinner again. That triple short, and Karam's out of bounds.
After making back-to-back threes to start off the game, you give it a little bit of license to shoot that one up.
Yep.
Townsville quick outlet pass out of that inbound. McCulley looks to launch a three.
Perry with a big offensive rebound. Up and in.
Great putback by Perry.
And I guess that's the advantage of that size, especially if they're going to go into a zone that Townsville have 3 elite offensive rebounders on the floor. Oh,
Steal by Brennan.
Oh, can't convert. Oh, Ainsley Walsh was fouled from behind going up.
Tip finish missed by Froling there, but Walsh there to clean up, and she got fouled. So she will go to the foul line for the first time tonight.
There's some other big games going on around the QBL tonight. I know that you and I briefly spoke about Ipswich and Logan. That was a 5-point game at halftime.
So just looking through those other games, Rockhampton off to a quick start against Mackay, jumping out to a 7-0 lead halfway through the first quarter. Southwest are leading Gold Coast. Southwest at home there, 10-7 halfway through the first quarter. Halfway through the second quarter on the Sunshine Coast, the Sunshine Coast Phoenix lead the North Gold Coast Seahawks 27-26. The Brisbane Capital Women's trail late in the third to the Southern District Spartans 62-50. And the other game tonight, halfway through the third quarter, the Logan women lead Ipswich by 2.
Right. Well, there's North Gold Coast again. They went to Mackay last week and came up with a big win there. Froling collects another offensive rebound.
Short on the putback by Perry.
Oh, McCauley goes tumbling. Going to call a foul on Brown.
First substitution for Townsville, Fowler coming in for Perry. And substitutions also coming for Toowoomba. Kimberly Wilson coming in for her first minutes, and Tracy Twiddale going to the bench.
Alex Fowler recently named to the under-19s GEM squad that heads to the World Cup. Congratulations to Alex.
Brennan finds McCulley on the skip. McCulley hesitates but launches the 2. It's no good, and Toowoomba through Brown finds King. She's no good, but is fouled and will go to the foul line. Townsville lead by 3 halfway through this first period. Toowoomba sticking in this zone, Mike. They've obviously been happy with the first shot result out of it, but
great cut from Froling.
They have given up a lot of O boards out of it though, and second chance opportunities, but that was a nice little set find by Fowler for Froling on the cut there.
Yeah, and no one was touched coming through that zone. They sort of just waltzed right through, and it was a great pass from McCauley to Fowler to Froling.
King looks to attack Froling from the top. It's a double dribble called by referee Tom Jones. And for Townsville, another substitution. Into the game comes Elise Kiplocks for her first minutes on this court, I think, Mike. We haven't seen her on the home court yet.
No, and I don't know too much about her, actually. I was asking Mia Murray for a bit of a scouting report. She's used to playing. She's an undersized 4-man, known as a versatile defender. So let's see what she brings to this group here.
Threes launched by Brennan. It's no good. Rebound now, King there. Brown moves the ball through Skinner, looks to attack Fowler from the top. Fowler used her length well just to persuade that ball away, but Toowoomba come up with the ball out of bounds. King with Carey, undersized, trying to guard her, takes her to the low post, nice spin move, converts the basket, and will go to the foul line for the M1.
Yeah, Frolling's giving Harriet some feedback there around really having to wall up and push her off her spot. Otherwise, if she makes a catch that deep, Harriet's in trouble.
So Carey came into the game there for Brennan in that last substitution. Toowoomba with the O board off the missed free throw. Coach Brennan will not be happy about that.
A great block from Frolling, walling up.
And then foot violation called by Brown as she tried to dislodge the ball illegally, and it will be Townsville ball.
That was a quick spell for Courtney Perry. She checks back in and Alex Fowler sits back down.
Yeah, curious, only one foul call on Fowler there.
Speaking of fouls, Frolling gets fouled heading to the basket, and she'll get 2 free throws out of it. Makes the second. Oh. Speaking of quick spells, I think Alex had enough time to wipe her face, and she's going to check back in.
King just couldn't take the fall there on that fadeaway. Townsville with the ball. McCulley looking to push the break.
It's a nice luxury to have when you can replace Michaela Cox with the likes of Rachel McCulley, who finds Perry inside, and she gets fouled. She'll head to the line shooting 2.
Foul called there on Kimberly Wilson.
Another youngster checks in here, Eliza Fabro, for her first minutes of the night. She's had a really impressive beginning of the season, Eliza. She tore some ligaments in her foot last year, which kept her out for a long period of time, and she's come back really shooting the 3 well and making some good decisions in transition.
She had some good numbers on the road down in Gladstone last weekend, I think, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, actually it was in Gladstone, that you're right. And I think that's something that, although with Rachel on board now, that perhaps is not as big of a need, but they, prior to that, they really didn't have a backup point guard. So Michaela was having to do a lot of the organizing, and perhaps that's reflected in not being able to play off the ball in her shooting numbers. So it'd be great to see when Michaela's back, be able to play with Rachel as Courtney Perry fouls.
Skinner, that was a great little move. Just out of that on ball, just faked to the middle, and the D jumped. Lane opened up, and she took that lane and finished nicely.
It's one of those games that I'm sure after they watched Cairns sort of dismantle them, Towns will probably be feeling quite confident, but the longer you leave Toowoomba to stick around, players like Skinner get hot, and all of a sudden there's multiple weapons on the floor.
And look, while we certainly wouldn't talk down the Flames team from this year, being that 4-4 record and some of the unexpected possible losses they've had this year,
yep.
Toowoomba probably wouldn't walk in here completely fearful. So
no, you're right.
Jump shot is good by Brown. That's her first make for the evening, and hopefully that basket might get her moving. So Toowoomba just still sticking with that zone.
Another big offensive rebound from Perry. She gets blocked going back up, but Kiplocks comes up with it. They've got 8 on the clock through Fowler to Carey in the corner. She can't bear the triple. Another offensive rebound. We don't have the live stats here, but that's at least 5 or 6. Oh, strong move there from Eliza Fabro. Off the left hand, gets it to go in.
The Toowoomba coach has seen enough. Once a timeout, you would have to think they're going to talk adjustment. These O boards just can't continue. So we've got to see an adjustment in the defensive strategy, or they've just got to take more accountability to the players in their area when those shots are taken, Mike.
It certainly seems like a lack of physicality on their part. They're big enough, Toowoomba, to be able to be in the competition, but I'm not seeing, cutters getting bumped and, bodies put on bodies when shots go up. So if they want to play that game with Townsville, and Townsville roll through, Alex Fowler is possibly the best offensive rebounder coming off anyone's bench. So it's not like their game strategy is going to change. So it'll be interesting to see how Toowoomba adjusts.
So, Mike, we will touch on it, obviously, being a Canadian native. Toronto,
Did something happen in Toronto?
look, from following your Facebook feed yesterday, I'm pretty confident something happened in Oakland yesterday, which Toronto people were pretty happy about.
Oh, well, 24 years in the making. I was a fan from day one. I was really proud to watch that game yesterday and to see us do it on the road against Golden State. And for those wondering what a Toronto versus a healthy Golden State scoreline looks like, December 13th, 2018. All right, they had KD, they had Steph, they had everybody. We went into their building without Kawhi and beat them by 20. So you can asterisk that one too.
No problems. I'm sure you've copped a little bit about that from the Golden State fans out there, that if they were all fit, they would have won. But
that's right. Every single bandwagon fan that I came across.
Brown from the elbow gets fouled by Fabro. Just didn't allow her the space to come down there.
She really sold it too. She got fouled around the three-point line and she ended up backpedaling towards halfway. So stealing a page out of Kyle Lowry's book, maybe.
How many of those references are we going to slip in tonight?
Depends how long I make it. I did continue celebrating well into the night. Two-point game here. Townsville up 20-18, 1:47 left in the first quarter. Oh, Fabro, tough pass that looks like it dropped on the line, but referee John Fenwick missed it. Toowoomba come up with the ball anyways, and here's Skinner again from three. Short on that one. Kiplocks comes up with the board. They don't respect Alex Fowler from deep, and Fabro comes up with offensive rebound. Oh, and tips it around to Kiplocks. Oh, kick it out to Carey for another three-point shot from the corner. That one's no good.
Skinner, risky pass over the court there to Lennon. They get away with it.
You have the numbers there. It looks like we're, after the first Lisa Brennan triple, that I'm not sure we've made another one since then.
So no, Townsville is currently 1 from 8 from the three-point line. Fowler misses a bunny at the rim there.
Yeah. And that's usually money for her. Her transition game, leading on the break after securing the rebound.
So Toowoomba looking to go to work between Brown and King at the top of the key. Fabro
well
bodies up, but Brown races above her and makes the two.
20 apiece here.
Look, I think that from what we talked to the Toowoomba coach before the game, this is exactly the pace of the game that he was probably after. It hasn't got away with them. They've been able to execute what they want to do.
Carey dribbles it off her own foot, turns it over. That was an ugly possession there from Townsville. And I think that's the, we're talking about the lack of a leader. Eliza, developing into a point guard, not quite there yet.
And a different lineup for Townsville, obviously, than what we've seen. So I think it was 3 weeks in a row they were on the road. They were in Cairns on the road. Then they were down in Brisbane for North Gold Coast and Spartans. And then last weekend, Gladstone Rockies. Yeah. So it has been a while. Kiplocks has come into the team. Fabro's been playing some more minutes than what she was previously.
Yep. No, and Luke Brennan's not been shy about rotating a lot of bodies through. I think we've already seen possibly 10 players hit the floor. shots start falling. See a familiar face on the Toowoomba bench down there, Vanessa Horn, a long-time Townsville junior who...
Vanessa Weber these days, married Cameron, who was also a Townsville junior and spent some time in Toowoomba as well, growing up. They would have been down there a good, I'm going to say almost 10 years now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably been something close to that.
Foul called there on Perry. That's her second foul. Nice rip on the baseline. Kick out three for Skinner.
Rolling, hit the ground hard.
Three was no good.
Oh, there's Walsh in the corner, wide open. Can't bury it. Now 1 of 8.
1 of 10 now. It was 1 of 9 at quarter time.
Oh, and they're going to call the pushing foul there on Ainsley Walsh.
Just a little bit crowded into the back of Brown as that pass was coming in, and she sold it well. Be Toowoomba ball from the baseline. Townsville switching through all those screens, and Toowoomba almost not getting the ball in there.
Yeah, 4.5 seconds there. Walsh goes under on that screen and then reconnects, and Toowoomba really don't go anywhere.
Shot clock winding down. Brown launches.
It's a great job getting out of the corner, generating something, but Froling cleans up the miss.
Brennan left wide open on the 3. Another one in and out, but Perry with another O board for Townsville. Toowoomba trying to scramble towards.
Oh, explosive first step from Lisa Brennan. I think she'll like that.
Floated by McCulley is no good, but another O board. Froling gets her hand on it. And you would have to think Toowoomba's going to have to come out of this zone sometime soon, just giving up all these O boards.
Well, Toowoomba answers here by sending their big back in, and a great cut from Lisa Brennan, who can't convert.
I suppose we're talking about all these O boards, though, but because Townsville's not converting, the score's even.
Yep.
You know, the Toowoomba coach is probably getting what he wants out of this right now.
Yeah, well, certainly he's not being punished by it, and I did say that the adjustment would be required if we start making some shots, which so far hasn't happened.
So King comes back into the game now, as you talked about before that foul. Trying to add some length into the middle of that zone to try and pull some boards in.
I hope we get to a scenario in today's game where a coach is going to lose a timeout and whether there's a momentum killing, so we can fit a Nick Nurse reference in here from Game 5. So
another foul called on Toowoomba. A little push on the baseline. Foul's called on Lennon. Townsville ball.
Another Townsville junior walking through the stadium here. Current Portland Pilot point guard Haley Andrews.
Toowoomba finally come up with a defensive board there. King looks to go to work on Perry.
Nice spin move on Perry.
She's done that spin move lovely twice now. That little crab dribble towards the middle and drop step back to the baseline.
Yeah.
Deflection there by Lennon. Ball out of bounds. Townsville ball on the baseline. Substitution for Toowoomba. Crystal Watson coming into the game. Crystal's been around the Toowoomba program for a very long time herself.
Is she? She didn't end up on my scouting report last year. That was the coldest stadium I think I've ever been in Queensland. Nice strong move from Perry there.
That was at the University Stadium, Mike, or down at Water Street, the old stadium?
No, at the stadium.
Oh, you haven't.
It's huge.
Do you think that's the coldest stadium? You haven't ventured to the old one at Water Street?
Right. We had blankets and hand warmers and
pull up at the foul line by Brown. She's got a nice little action from that range.
Yeah, and Toowoomba's now taking the lead here. They're up 24-23. Here's Froling through the lane. The spacing is terrible for Townsville right now. And I guess that's a function if you're going to be elite offensive rebounders, that you're used to sort of operating around the basket there. And It was really crowded for a moment.
Fowler in for Perry. We saw that one set that Townsville ran beautifully where they hit the high post and then find the cutter on the backside.
And there's another great set, but Froling's got to be able to convert that at the rim.
I don't think we've seen that set again. It led to a clear layup last time, and you know, they're just where they haven't been patient enough or got the ball into the right spot yet. Froling looking to take back the lead for Townsville here.
Makes the first free throw. Short on the second. Ties the game at 24 apiece, 7 minutes left here in the second quarter. Really extending that pressure with Fowler picking up at the halfway. As is Walsh, harassing the import. Pull-up jumper, this time no good. Froling cleans up again.
Yeah, McCulley peruses what's available up in front. Keeps the ball on the floor.
Oh.
Finds Brennan on the bailout pass, and another missed shot, but another row board. Surprise, surprise.
Great find from Fowler there. She had a few options, and a little wraparound pass back to Brennan.
Flames leading by 2. Foul called there on Alex Fowler. Just a little reach in on the catch. Substitution for Townsville. Kiplock's coming into the game for Walsh.
Wow, this is a pretty big lineup here. Those are some
big 2s and 3s.
Yeah, well, I was going to say traditional 4s and 5s, but someone's got to play a 2 and 3. So let's see if they can keep the ball in front of them.
Fowler does a good job staying in front of Skinner there. Brown comes off that on-ball screen with purpose and gets into the lane for 2.
I'm not sure that they had their ball screen D sorted there, and here's a transition opportunity for Froling. Throws it off the glass, no good.
Toowoomba going back 3 on 2. Brown attacks McCulley, and McCulley, we have seen that many, many times in the WNBL, in the QBL, in the South Australian, wherever she's played.
One
great
of the
defensive
all-time
player.
great defensive players that I've ever had the opportunity to coach. At the tender age of, let's make it 36. I think I'm erring on the side of caution there.
Great find by McCulley, just throwing, kniving down through the middle of that zone. Wide open for 2.
They put Kiplocks now this time on Brown, and she's just shadowing her. I wonder if we'll see a box and 1.
I don't see Kawhi out there or Steph Curry out there yet. So.
Well, I'm not sure that this is the lineup that's suited to be able to contain Anita Brown either. That's twice she's just blown past not only the first defender, but every help defender as well. So
Toowoomba on the break now. Brown with McCulley in front of her decides to pull up this time.
Here's Skinner for 3. Buries the triple, and Luke Brennan wants a timeout.
And Toowoomba lead 31-28 halfway through the second quarter here at Townsville Stadium. It's a weird game. It's felt like Townsville's been in complete control on the boards. They've got shots all over the place. They can't convert, which has been the thing that's hurt them.
Well, that's right. And they've missed a few bunnies inside, some easy transition buckets, and they're certainly not able to knock down the 3 yet. So
Townsville currently shooting at 32% from the field, and only 9% from the 3-point line. 1 of 11 there.
I'm just looking at the Townsville bench, and Harriet Carey is one that can get hot quickly. So I wonder if she'll get an opportunity to see the floor soon. They're going to have to do something to be able to open it up a little bit, because unconverted offensive rebounds is still worth 0 points.
Correct. Yes. And that's the philosophy. Obviously, Toowoomba coach is happy with that right now. Probably not happy with all the second chance opportunities, but happy with the fact that they haven't been killed on them.
No substitutions there for Townsville. Coach Brennan's going to stay with that lineup. Froling, Brennan, Fowler, Kiplocks, and Flanagan. McCulley, I'm sorry.
Might see some zone themselves down the other end for Townsville with this lineup.
Well, Skinner's still out there. We haven't seen Anita Brown sort of shoot it. I'm not sure if her stats support her being an outside threat. Her game seems to be as a slasher so far.
Froling finds Fowler, nice seal under the rim. Good D there by Lennon. Just staying up in the space and making Fowler finish over the top of her.
And again, spacing was an issue on that possession, so I think we had 3 players inside the key.
King looks to attack Froling late in the shot clock.
Oh, great double. Oh!
Good help there by Brennan, but the foul is called here on Brennan.
Wow.
Just closed that gap a little bit, perhaps too much for the referee's liking.
I thought that was some good defense there. She had early position.
That's Brennan's second foul.
I don't think Christina King expected the double. She certainly didn't see it coming, and no one communicated to her, and all of a sudden Lisa Brennan was right there. Didn't work out as Luke Brennan shakes his head. Still talking to the referee, John Fenwick, about it.
Only converts 1, but that gives Toowoomba a 4-point lead. Kiplocks, nice little pull up over the ball screen for 2.
I know she's been spending a lot of time working on her jumper. I was here early in the week, and she was getting some shots up with Michaela Cox, and it looked good coming out of the hand. And as a lefty, you know, she may not appear on too many scouting reports yet, so Townsville certainly could use some scoring punches.
Skinner no good with the pull-up. McCulley, great pass, fine Fowler on the break. That's another 2.
That is her bread and butter.
And the score is back to locked up at 32 apiece. Brown and King looking for the ball screen action. Brown goes away from it. Great
defense, but Cardinals sin of not finishing the play and boxing out.
Skinner knocks down the 3 to kick the Toowoomba team back out to the lead.
Well, and that's possibly the first offensive rebound they've gotten, and they've done what Townsville hasn't been able to do, is turn that into some points.
McCulley launches the 3. It's a little bit strong.
Oh,
and
some
out of bounds.
Footwork from Elisa Froling, but couldn't keep it alive.
Perry back in for Froling. Brown calling for the high ball screens here through a horn set.
Lisa Brennan having to pick up on the point guard, and they get this switch that's probably the matchup that they prefer.
So they drop back into a matchup zone.
Yeah.
Another open ball for rebound.
Oh, they're going to say she traveled, picked up her pivot foot there. And I think there was some confusion. They started in a man, and I think Coach
twisted into a zone, yeah. Maybe on the first pass or something there.
Oh, the great duck in from Fowler. McCulley can't find her, but Perry tips it out of bounds. It'll be Toowoomba ball.
Townsville in a 1-2-2 trap here by the look of it. Picking up in the corner, but Toowoomba negate that easily.
Skinner steps through. Right hand finish, no good. Another offensive rebound, 3 in a row for Toowoomba, and 2 of them converted.
King just did enough there. Just got the little tip to get the ball to the floor, and then was rewarded with that work by getting the ball back for 2.
Big post up from Perry, and Fowler throws it away.
Toowoomba late in this first half now with a 5-point lead. Looking for the first time of the game that they're probably in control of this game.
Absolutely. I mean, Brennan took that timeout. They came out, Townsville answered. Oh, as Brown gets past, they can't convert.
Nice move, but just a little bit too much fake, maybe.
Oh, great screen from Fowler. She gets rewarded with the assist from Brennan. Lack of communication there. That'll take some sting out of you. Well, that answers the mini Toowoomba run. I think they went on a 7-0 run there before Townsville was able to answer.
Brown finds King after dribbling all around the place down there. King's now going to launch a 3 over Perry.
Oh, good.
Brown, great offensive rebound.
Wow.
She definitely plays above her
Puts
size.
Kiplocks to sleep there with an explosive move.
We'll see another timeout go to the Townsville Flames with Toowoomba leading 39 to 34. A minute 23 to go in the first half.
As good as a defender as Rachel is, it's a bit unfair to ask her to sort of sub in at this time of the year, maybe a little bit undone, you know, not a full preseason underneath her, and expect to contain people's star imports. So without Michaela Cox, someone's going to have to do it.
And not feeling incredibly well either. I had a quick chat to her before the game, and her son Miles has been sick a lot recently, and just a little bit of a bug going through the family. So she's certainly pushing herself to her boundaries out there, and we know that she will continue to do that.
Yep. Might have to change up that scheme. I mean, I know we've seen him try a few different people. We saw Kiplocks on her, and Lisa Brennan was guarding it for a while. So maybe they're going to have to go and maybe pack it in with a zone and just try to contain some of that penetration and dare them to make some outside shots.
Right, so substitution, we see Harriet Carey come in out of that timeout for Kiplocks. It's the only little change. So we've still got Carey now in the 2 with Brennan in the 3. Fowler and Perry working together in the front court.
Dropping back into, not sure they're matching up. No, they're not.
Yeah, just showing a different look out of it.
Skip pass from Carey to McCulley. Another long off the iron and not getting their D-trans sorted. Lisa Brennan gets back to trouble her.
Will be Flames ball here. So yeah, Toowoomba, they look like they started in a 1-3-1. Then first pass maybe shifted to a 3-2. Just trying to distort Townsville's thought process a little bit here.
Now they're back into a 2-3. Find Brennan in the corner. She'll launch the triple. Another one long off the iron. 1 of 15. Is that where we're at now?
It would be something like that, yes. I guess you're going to keep playing zone when teams shooting that way.
Yep.
King looks to find
great step.
Rachel McCulley, another charge foul drawn there. Saw King coming and just got to the spot before her.
25 seconds left here. Both teams on 4 fouls, so we'll shoot free throws on any foul. Looks like Townsville will hold. There's some tired bodies out there. I see hands on hips, and they give it to Carey with 8 seconds left. She tries to feed it inside, but it goes off the rim. And again, another transition opportunity, and a great hustle back from Carey, but she fouls her. A better offensive move from Brown, who will head to the line shooting 2 with an opportunity to put them up by 8 heading into the halftime.
Carey tried her best to get back in front there, but probably just compounded. Did she sort of give up on that one a little bit? She's got herself another foul now. I don't think she was ever going to get in front, but force the athletic finish at least by Brown.
I suppose it's the lack of clarity around what their rules are, who's getting back on the rise of a shot. And, as McCulley gets it off.
It's no good. And at halftime here at Townsville basketball, the Toowoomba Mountaineers lead the Townsville Flames 42 to 34. We will just do a quick review of the other. Townsville and Rockhampton leading at halftime over Mackay 31 to 28.
Well, Mackay came back in that one. They were down early.
It's all tied up at just going in with 4 seconds to go into the halftime at Southwest, with Southwest and Gold Coast tied up at 42. Tied up also on the Sunshine Coast between the Phoenix and North Gold Coast halfway through the third quarter at 50 apiece. The Southern District Spartans secure another win over the Brisbane Capitals 83 to 58. And the Ipswich Force lead by 1 point inside the final minute over the Logan women, 78-77.
I might tune into that one at halftime to see that finish.
We'll take a break here from Townsville Basketball Stadium, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Welcome back to Townsville Basketball Stadium, where at halftime the Toowoomba Mountaineers lead the home team Townsville Flames 42-34. At halftime we saw the Townsville Heat here unveil their championship banner from last year. So first home game they've had, I suppose, since you've had Josh Wilshire come back.
Yep.
So he was obviously a key driver to the team. Harry Froling also in the building after getting back from doing some NBA workouts while he's been in the last month at Utah, Miami. He's been a bit all over the shop. So yeah, had a quick catch up with him at, away from the basketball court the other day, and he was quite happy with the performance he put in over there, and hopeful that it might lead to some form of a two-way contract at some stage. And
well, I saw him in the pick and roll article talking about, you know, he's not expecting to get drafted, but he'd like some summer league invites. He thinks he can contribute. He thinks he's he recognizes it might be a bit of a project, but he's backing himself. So good luck to Harry.
So stats at halftime here. For Toowoomba, let's start off with them. Leading scorer for them is Brown with 16, and Skinner has 15. King with 9 to go along with that. They haven't really been that great or dominant on the boards, but it's worked out for them where they're shooting at 44% from the field, so they've been able to control the game the way that they would like. Whereas for Townsville, spread of scorers a bit all over the place. Froling with 9, Brennan with 8, Perry with 7. Not a lot coming off the bench so far tonight. Fowler's got 4, but damning statistics there. Shooting percentage 34% from the field and 7% at 1 of 13 from the three-point line. So those 12 low boards that they've got really haven't helped them out in that way.
At all, right. And often we'll head down at halftime and get some coaches' thoughts, before they head into the locker room, but we agreed that for our own well-being that was not a good idea. We didn't assume that Coach Brennan was going to be too happy with the way his team executed, especially down the end with some of those, just players not getting back on D off of, on the release of the shots. So I would assume with this veteran group that they'll get that solved.
Those other games around the league, Ipswich get over the line over Logan, 83-81. As we talked about earlier, Southern Districts beating the Brisbane Capitals 83-58. The Sunshine Coast Phoenix now lead North Gold Coast by 2 a couple of minutes into the final quarter.
For mine, they've been the surprise packet this year, that Sunshine Coast Phoenix team.
Halftime all tied up between Southwest and Gold Coast Waves. And Rockhampton lead at halftime over Mackay by 3.
Here's a bit of a 1-3-1 that Toowoomba's showing. They find Brennan in the corner, and the second half starts off like the first one finished with a missed corner 3.
So Brown looking for King in the low post here, goes to work on Froling. Their spin move back baseline again.
Her money move.
Might want to get that on the scout sheet. Coaches out there who have yet to play Toowoomba.
Oh, and she may have a case for having been fouled there. Courtney Perry plays through the contact and converts the 2 at the basket.
Walsh now with the assignment on Brown coming back into the game. She probably didn't play as much in the first half.
Yeah, that's right. Now, she's a great defender. She's got a big motor. She's strong. As Skinner
throws up an out-of-control shot there.
Oh, a big block from the import on Ainsley Walsh. It was a 3-on-1, and she covered that well.
King threw that out of there.
A bit Serge Ibaka-esque.
Maybe we should be playing a game for watchers tonight at home. Every time Mike drops a Raptors reference, it's drink time. Not that we'd encourage, that sort of behaviour.
Absolutely not. Courtney Perry there with a strong move. She got fouled that time. She converts, so head to the line shooting 1. And, while we're at it then, someone needs to play the Fred Van Vliet role here for Townsville. Come off the bench, hit some 3s. Oh, they're going to call Froling with a reach-in foul there. Fenwick's about to get an earful from Coach Luke Brennan. No, he shows a lot of restraint and decides not to. They double team Brown. Get it into Skinner.
Work out the on-ball screen, Brown.
Lots of help.
Back for Skinner for the long three. Off the front of the rim, it's no good. And Townsville with the rebound through Perry. McCulley leading the break.
Oh, they find Perry inside. Another great look out of that trail post.
Yeah, just let Frolling go through early. All the traffic went there, and Perry just slipped straight through that gap.
Certainly hasn't been a Toowoomba strength of hitting those cutters as they just waltz through the lane.
Perry is trying to guard Brown here. Kick out to Skinner. Late in the shot clock, forces up a long shot. It's no good, board.
She doesn't know the shot clock's expiring, though. Didn't hit the rim. And it'll be a Townsville ball off that turnover.
They've eaten into this lead. Only a 3-point game now, Toowoomba's way. Townsville coming out of halftime with some purpose. Foul called there on Lennon.
Yeah,
not happy with it, but very, very similar to some of the other contact that's been called. So,
and it was probably a fair assumption that the next foul called was going to go against Toowoomba.
Wilson comes into the game for Toowoomba.
Oh, little give and go back to McCulley. Decides to not take the shot. Walsh off the bounce, a little floater over the front of the rim is good.
Actually hit the front of the rim and then got up over the rim, but right now Townsville will take that, and now they trail by 1.
Oh,
steal by Brennan.
McCulley gives it to Perry, unselfish move.
And the Toowoomba coach has seen enough.
A nice little run from Townsville there.
And Townsville now will go into this timeout, this Toowoomba timeout, leading 45-44.
And, you know, they haven't been able to convert from 3, but they've gotten some wide open layups, some transition stuff. So, you know, if that's not going to be their strength tonight, they need to find different ways to score, and they did a good job of that.
I think you talked a lot about it in the first half, though, the space. What they've done probably pretty well in this first couple of minutes is played with good space. When that lead runner's gone through and taken the D with them, they've drifted out to the short corner, allowed that gap for the trailer to cut through, and those options have been there. A little bit of good defensive play there by Brennan with the steal at halfway, and then McCulley making the right option to find Perry at the rim.
And Ainsley Walsh's intensity on defense has been a bit of a difference maker too. She really made Anita Brown work hard for, you know, just getting the ball. So they fed off that energy defensively, and they've been able to get out and run.
She's got good activity and good fitness, Ainsley, and she's been around the league for a long time. So out of a couple of those ball screen situations where Toowoomba have been running here, she's recovered really well out to find Skinner and take away her shot.
So it'll be more of the same here from Townsville as they look to up the pressure on Anita Brown on this baseline inbounds. Frolling's length really causing problems.
Yeah, Skinner's got the ball. Probably doesn't really look like she wants to carry.
No.
They've thrown the trap at her, but
nice little pressure from Townsville, but Toowoomba gets out of it.
They're taking good time out of the shot clock there.
Oh, they're going to call a blocking foul that time. It's unfortunate, but she's gotten 2 to go her way. That's the first one that hasn't.
And she'll be dirty for that block because she had to get up off the ground, and at her age, she doesn't. She probably doesn't like throwing herself around as much as what she did 5 years ago. Toowoomba just get it in again out of bounds.
Oh, little free throw line jumper.
Wilson for the jumper at the foul line. Sounds like just trying to up the tempo.
Triple team on Perry. Kicks it out to Walsh. She finally buries the second three-pointer. They made their first. They missed the next 15. So it's good to see them hit on that one.
And yeah, very aggressive D from Toowoomba, triple teaming down there, just left Walsh wide open.
That time, no.
Brown on the attack, Flanagan came over, McCulley came over on help and draws a blocking foul again, Brown. Bit of ball from the baseline here.
That's her second foul.
Strategic couple of blocking fouls there by McCulley to get arrested, Mike.
Well, she's
a smart enough player to do that.
Yeah. but she wants to be on the floor. I remember talking to her a few years ago around, you know, she would get to the stage where she wouldn't want to be just a reserve off the bench. She's so competitive. You know, she wants to be out there the whole time as Anita Brown buries the mid-range jumper.
After breaking Lisa Brennan's ankles and sending her to the floor. Nice little move there.
Oh, there's another. Well, they play through that trail again. John Fenwick's going to say it's a blocking foul, not in the act of shooting.
Foul called on Wilson. This sideline ball here for the Flames. All tied up at 48 apiece. And Fabro into the game here for Townsville again.
Angela Carey also in the crowd. She's having her first year overseas, and I think she's heading to Canada actually for her second. Simon Fraser in British Columbia, so
just wants to get some of that Toronto glow on her.
Well, who wouldn't?
Ball screen between the two imports there for Toowoomba. Finds Twiddale in the corner for three. It's good.
Why not?
Why not? And that's another drink.
Oh, we have fun. Oh, another great find from Perry. Froling finishes at the rim.
They're really starting to pick apart this Toowoomba defensive scheme with those dives from the high post now.
But they can't create separation. I mean, they're trailing by one, so Toowoomba can't be too disappointed.
Skinner, strong move in the post over Brennan.
Trips are getting up, and Skinner looks like she's limping. Oh. They're going to call a blocking foul on, was it 12? Was it Christina King who picked up the foul there? As Alex Fowler looks to check in.
Fowler in for Froling.
Great minutes from Alicia Froling there. Maybe just a quick breather.
He seems to be getting a little bit more confidence every game. You know, we were probably a little bit critical of some of her performance early. You know, I remember one game where I think she only took one shot for the whole game. Starting to impose herself a little bit more on this team as she's getting more comfortable.
And I guess that's the the role that she's being asked to do is she's come back to the Townsville Flames program as a star, and she needs to be taking more shots and backing herself. She is unselfish to the detriment of her team sometimes. So good to see tonight that she's been real aggressive.
Brennan with great strength under the rim off that O board there, just shook the player off and converted unopposed. Another foul called on the defensive end here for Townsville. That might have been called on Fowler, which is her third foul.
Lots of fouls this quarter. Both teams sit on 4. 4:51 left here in the third quarter.
Brown v. Walsh. Pull-up jumper at the elbow is good for two.
Great offensive move. Walsh gave her a little bit of space. She pulled up for that elbow jumper. Showed, she's certainly capable of making.
Blocking foul called off the ball here by Toowoomba on Twiddale as Fowler just tried to cut through the high post there.
But I wouldn't be too disappointed if I was the Toowoomba coach to finally see a cutter get bumped as she's coming through. It was something that was critical of them early on, and this time she ended up picking up the foul, but they were just waltzing through. So good hard foul.
There's actually a bump on Brennan, so she'll go to the foul line here for 2 shots.
Can't make both. Oh, Courtney Perry almost came up with that offensive rebound that just dropped straight into her hands. Eliza Fabro's checked in. It's a bit of speed in the guard spots here with Fabro and Walsh. They're giving Fabro the assignment on Brown. Oh, tempting her to just reach in and...
Reached in first time, got away with it. Reached in second time. The ref had no choice but to call that foul. We see McCulley and Froling coming back in for Perry and Walsh.
That really was a quick breather for Froling. Less than a minute on the bench.
Good minutes for Walsh at the start of that quarter. I think the 6 minutes very valuable on the defensive end just to help Townsville drag themselves back into this game.
And I think, you know, much like he's been rotating the bigs, he probably needs to do a similar thing with Walsh. Give her a breather here, maybe 2 minutes and whatnot, but possibly finish the quarter with her. She was one of the few that was able to show that she was able to stay in front of Brown, and, you know, Brown continues to score. She's found a rhythm now, but she's not getting to the rim like she was early on.
Throwing loose pass, just far too hard for the gap that she had with Fabro. Falls out of bounds, and it'll be Toowoomba ball. They lead by 4.
It's been a game of runs, hasn't it? You know, like we've seen some good passages from Toowoomba, Townsville answers, and right now, a few bad passages to play from Townsville.
Twiddale launches for 3. No good, but Lennon comes up with the O board.
Here's Brown out of the pick and roll. Rejects the screen. She gets double teamed. And maybe that's something they'll have to do a little bit more out of.
Trap out of that on ball and make her give the ball up.
Make someone else beat you. I looked at, like we were talking about the box score. Oh, wow. Quick release out of hand there from Alicia Froling. Toowoomba haven't been getting a lot of support beyond their imports, so.
Skinner was good early, but she's gone quiet as the game's gone on.
Yeah. Certainly not letting her get loose from like she was earlier on. There's that double. Here's Skinner, like we mentioned.
She's open and long on the 3.
So maybe that strategy might work for Townsville now. They might decide to leave her open. Coach Brennan wants an explanation about the moving screen on the baseline.
Just talking about Skinner, just looking as the sub was called for Toowoomba there. Looking over the bench, I think she was hoping it was for her. She's looking a little fatigued right now.
Yeah, maybe she's got her hands on her hips as well, doesn't she?
Little rest for her might bring her back into the game in the 4th quarter.
Here's that 2-3 from Toowoomba. McCulley to Fabro for 3.
Short.
Online, but short. Just not their night tonight from 3. They're going to try to chase her. Rotate the ball around, Toowoomba do. And they bury the triple of their own.
Good offense, Toowoomba. They took that baseline that was there, drew the players, and just kicked on for the extra pass, open 3.
That classic split kick extra. Oh, here's Froling off the bounce, kicks it back to Froling. To Kiplocks for 3 of her own, no good as long. Fabro comes up with the offensive glass.
McCulley wants the ball screen, but decides to kick over to Kiplocks.
Doesn't take it. I mean, her confidence right now can't be as high as Alex Fowler nails the free throw jumper.
This game looks like it's going to go right down the stretch, Mike. No team's taking control. It's biggest margin we've probably had was that half-time margin.
I'm just laughing watching them chase her to try to double team to get the ball out of her hands. But you're right. You know, 3-point game, 2 seconds on the shot clock. Skinner gets it up. No good. Fabro comes up with it. Back to Froling.
Good punch screen there by Fowler. She moves the extra pass into Froling.
It was a spacing
Finds her
issue
back,
again.
but they were on top of each other, weren't they? It's Toowoomba now on the break. Skinner finds Brown. 2 is converted, and the lead is back to 5 with a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Always so hard to organize your D-trans out of a turnover. And, you know, we had 3 players inside the charge circle, so certainly weren't starting with a head start. They give it to Fowler this time inside. Off the right hand, no good.
Rebound by King, and Townsville just dried up a little bit. That space and that great awareness they played with early in the 3rd quarter has disappeared possibly through some rotations here.
And as much as I've been an unconditional fan of Alex Fowler over the years, I think it's come to the time where she needs to be able to develop a left-hand finish out of that spin move. Stop coming back to the right hand, just flip it up with the left, and would have been an easier option for her.
Speaking of Fowler, that was her 4th foul there. So Fowler and Fabro go back to the bench. Perry and Brennan come back into the game.
And here's that big Townsville lineup with Kiplocks at the 2, Brennan at the 3, I imagine.
Wasn't great at the end of the 2nd quarter, but hopefully they can do a better job here. Hopefully for the Townsville fans, that is, of course.
Well, Townsville came out and had a really good answer. They tied the game up at 44. And now we see the scores blown out in Toowoomba's favor as Anita Brown gets a 39-second breather, I imagine, to end the quarter.
And Despana Dickerson comes in for her first minutes tonight.
Excuse me?
Perry from the high post forces another pass, another turnover for Townsville. Both imports off the floor here for Toowoomba. They're just trying to
going to local contingent.
Take a little bit of advantage of this lead that they've got and get that just slightly extended break for their stars.
Townsville certainly being aggressive on D. You can see the battle between Froling and
Wilson throws it up. They get the O board though, and they find Dickerson, and Dickerson knocks down the 2.
Wow.
And at 3/4 time, the Toowoomba Mountaineers have taken that little push that Townsville put on the third quarter and pushed back, and they now lead. 3/4 time here from Townsville Basketball Stadium, the Toowoomba Mountaineers leading 66-57.
Well, just as you bring up those live stats, what an end of the quarter there for Toowoomba to be able to rest their imports, increase the lead. They've now pushed it out to a 9-point lead. You know, a really productive offensive quarter from Toowoomba. As much as Townsville had found a patch where their efficiency was good, and we talked about the great cuts they were making, it really dried up for them at the end, and Toowoomba punished them.
So the 3/4 time scorers for Townsville: Perry has 16, Froling 13, Brennan 11. Whereas for Toowoomba, we have Brown with 26.
Wow.
Skinner with 17, and King with 11.
But they must be there's some other supporting
so
numbers
Brown,
there.
9 rebounds to go along with her 26 points and 5 assists as well. So, you know, the other scorers, it's only Twidar with 6. She's knocked down a couple of threes.
Yeah.
Lennon with 4.
Okay.
And Wilson with 2 off the bench. So all of that scoring's come out of that big 3.
All right. Well, Townsville will have to find some answers then. Now everyone's in a rhythm. There's certainly, that spin move from, what's the big one's name?
From King.
Christina King. She's been really efficient when she's touched the ball inside, and Brown, off the bounce has looked really good as well. And, from 3, Skinner's been really good. So they're different weapons in different positions.
Looking at those other 3 games still underway, we have Rockhampton leading 59-49. Gold Coast now taking the ascendancy over Southwest, leading 77-53. And the Phoenix leading the North Gold Coast Seahawks with 7 seconds to go. So you'll notch that up as a win, 85-79.
Yeah, so as much as they've been my surprise package, I suppose my most disappointing team has probably been the Southwest Metro Pirates, who
came here round 1 and got a win.
That's right. Actually, I missed that game. I was on somewhere. As Shaylee Browning is now checked in for Townsville, and a big block from Alicia Froling on Skinner gets pushed out of bounds. A lot of confidence there from Luke Brennan to throw in his number 7.
Whether he's gone with the theory here that Toowoomba imports are out, I might try and pinch a couple of minutes for a couple of players as well. Trust his youth against the Toowoomba team. But when you're down on the scoreboard by 9, that's a big risk to take.
Yeah. And then Shaylee traveled on the road with that, great find from McCulley. Perry can't convert, though, and it's going to go off to Toowoomba. They just can't afford, actually, to not get that, though. That's from your import on a spin move, right hand, preferred hand.
So referees just conferring and talking about the shot clock now.
So that Toowoomba had possession and then turned it over.
So it shouldn't matter. Like, I think Tom Jones is asking for 24, but a turnover in the front court's only a 14-second shot clock anyway nowadays.
Thank you for that clarification.
And I think Tom just had that clarified to him by the score bench as well.
Here we go.
Townsville find Perry. She finds
It was late on that pass.
Gets there in the end.
Yeah.
And
that's what matters, I suppose. Cuts the lead to 7. Plenty of time here for, really both teams, I suppose, but no reason to panic. Oh, some aggressive screening action there from Wilson.
And for Toowoomba, the 2 imports now ready to come back into the game.
Well, Brown got a good 2 minutes out of that, you know. I think she left with a 7-point lead. She checks back in with it, so coach should be happy with that substitution pattern as Dirksen heads to the bench.
Dickerson and Wilson head to the bench while King and Brown come back in. Can he find a minute or two for Skinner here just to get her a little bit more rest, maybe?
Yep, and now maybe is the time with, now that you've just sent the...
Foul called there on Lennon.
It was the obvious, like we had a great angle on that. She came across in the forearm, and you could tell how the pass came out of the hand that it was a clear foul, as disappointing as that is for her. I didn't see the paddle go up, but I assume that that's either her third or fourth as Brown comes up with the turnover.
Foul called from the trial official there. Froling not happy with it, but Brown will go to the foul line for another 2 shots. Extending Toowoomba's lead here, back out to 8.
Stadium starting to fill up here. Just in time to fans to see a hopeful Townsville. Oh, that's a bump, not called.
Now Toowoomba come up with the ball off a turnover there.
Veteran move from Brown to throw it off Browning's leg.
Coach Brennan's still trusting this younger lineup with Browning and Kerry out there now.
Yep. And, you know, matchup-wise,
foul will be called on Browning here. Just a little reach in as Twiddale tried to get to the rim.
Yep.
She made the basket and will go to the foul line. As we see Brennan and Walsh now coming back in for Kerry and Browning.
Walsh seems to have set for a long period of time there where I thought she might come back early given how good she had been for them. She's well rested now, and I assume she'll get the Brown matchup.
Twiddale short, but Toowoomba come back with an O'Bourne. Rejected by Froling.
What a block from Alicia Froling.
Now McCulley on the push, lovely little dump pass to Perry.
And she converts that time, good for her.
And it's a 9-point game here with 8 minutes to go in Townsville. McCulley going, Twiddale.
Oh wow, they're really letting them play here.
And then call the secondary foul as McCulley just reaches around and grabs Twiddale's arm on the ground.
Coach Brennan wants to talk it over.
The court announcer agreeing with you word for word there, Mike. And Timmy Duro down on the mic. Luke Brennan wants to talk it over. What is he going to talk over, do you think?
Look, I think, you know, at this point, Toowoomba's found such a rhythm from those 3 players that the scout is clear that Brown wants to get to the basket. Skinner wants to shoot threes, and King's going to play on the block. So it's not something that should be unexpected. It's allowing Twiddale, though, to penetrate middle and fouling her on the flip pass that he would be, I assume, mildly upset with.
And this is a must-win game, you'd really think, Mike, for Townsville. The way the season's gone so far, I know there's still some time to go, but losing a game like this would just hurt so much coming down the stretch.
Well, they're 4-4, and they were sort of in the middle of the pack of the bottom half of the teams that are chasing that playoff spot. And you know, if you drop one at home to a team that's 1-8, that would be a really, you know, one that you would have notched and say, well, then we got to find another one that you don't normally get. You know, a road win in Rocky is one of those where it's really hard to do on the back of a road double, going to Southern Districts, and you've already had those 2 games. So, you know, you didn't get to pinch those games, so I'm not sure whether they're going to be able to steal another one from it if they can't get over the line in this one tonight.
Now Walsh gets that assignment back on Brown down the stretch here. On ball
There's that double.
Trap. And Skinner launches the 3, rims out.
But the rotation actually was probably pretty poor there. We just talked about Skinner her game is a pop. She's not going to roll, so Alicia Froling needed to be there a lot sooner as Courtney Perry knocks over Lisa Brennan.
Now Toowoomba finds Skinner.
Runner off the three-point line. Good.
Good closeout and forces the little mistake. Mental error there by Skinner with the travel. But look, Skinner's a quality shooter, so you'd imagine, look, Toowoomba, if I'm their coach right now, I'm running that on-ball screen, get Brown off her, draw the two defenders, then if they've got to adjust and start running a player out at Skinner, it's going to leave King open inside.
Absolutely. As Townsville failed to convert from three. Walsh finally converted an offensive rebound from Ainsley Walsh, who's been one of the best performers here tonight. Cuts the lead to 6, and they double Twiddell on the baseline, on the sideline, I'm sorry. Walsh unfortunately gets it poked away, and Toowoomba recover.
They just got all on top of each other in the middle of the court there and brought defenders to the ball, and it didn't work for Townsville. Twiddell finally gets the ball into Brown's hand late in the shot clock, only 7 seconds left. She'll look for a pull-up. No, finds King. King's going to have to launch the long shot. Over Perry's hand, it's no good.
Good defensive possession there from Townsville.
They find the trailer again, who then slip around pass for Brennan, and it's another turnover. Fowler now coming in for Perry. And we've got a timeout.
I like that timeout. I thought that was actually, like Townsville's had a bit of momentum there, off their turnover. Let's get organized on offense. Maybe talk about what, you were just mentioning around, playing to your strengths and, running. If they're going to run Skinner off the three-point line, then what else are we going to be able to get out of that?
So do you like that timeout more than a certain coach called in Toronto on Game 5, Michael?
Was that the one where we had all the momentum and Nick Nurse afterwards? And it's so easy to criticize when you're not in these high-pressure situations, but I know you and I were texting each other, and we both questioned sort of the timing of that. And not only that, did he take that time out, he backed it up with another one. So Klay Thompson and Steph Curry got an extra 2 minutes rest. And I guess the rest was history, and it all worked out in the end for us. But, a lot of nerves when you're up 3-1 to just hold on and whatever you need to do to get over the line against one of the all-time dynasties. A plethora of support there for Townsville on the bench. Tanya Baxter, who's an assistant coach, who's come back after several years being away from the game. Mia Murray's down there as well.
Annette Winton, who's part of the furniture on the Townsville Flames bench.
They're going to say Toowoomba tipped it out of bounds. Well, there you go. So Townsville gets the turnover coming out of the Toowoomba timeout. So is it a good timeout now? I don't know.
The 1-3-1 zone again here by Toowoomba. Distorted up into a 2-3 now. Brennan
got to
attacks the
stop
elbow.
crouching in on that spacing. If you're going to beat a 1-3-1, you have to have shooters in your corners. Otherwise, you're just playing into their hands.
McCulley coming over the ball screen. Bailey pass to Walsh. Shot clock's running low now. Turnover by Townsville, and it will be Toowoomba ball, leading 6. Just shy of 6 minutes to go. Full court pressure really being applied by Townsville now. Trying to turn this up and force Toowoomba to play that quicker tempo maybe that Cairns were able to last night.
And here comes the spin move. Froling falls to the ground. Kick out to Skinner. Can't convert that time. Townsville escape. Fowler had done a great job of leaking out. They don't contest it.
That shows the quality vision of a point guard right there. McCulley looked up and found Fowler, pinpoint pass for 2.
I thought they'd missed it, like she was there early, but, trust Rachel McCulley to know that if the pass is going to be thrown, it's going to reach hands.
Brown v. Walsh from the elbow. Brown pulls up. That is her money shot, going right at the elbow.
Again, Fowler from McCulley in transition. And both teams really putting on a bit of a show here now, playing to their strengths. Here comes the double team. They want to get the ball out of her hands. I'm not saying the box and one's the wrong decision, but
And Brown, through frustration, throws up a shot there from 3. It's no good. Look, I think, to me, that last possession right there, they did the right thing to him, but they got the kick across the other side. But then King maintained presence up on the elbow. There was so much space to go to. She just needed to make a dive at the rim. They would have had 2 points there.
Back to the 1-3-1. They find Fowler at the elbow. She kicks it out to Walsh to the corner. Good closeout.
McCulley finds Brennan for 2. It's good.
Just took that, good step in. Not a long 2, a comfortable open, mid-range jumper, which I'm really happy with. I know you give me a hard time about people shoot 2s. Oh, King with an explosive first step. Just blows by Walsh.
Well, that's where I was frustrated with that last possession. She could have had the same score.
And Alex Fowler, again, they haven't found in transition. 2-point game here, 4 minutes left.
Toowoomba will be desperate for this win after having only one so far.
Absolutely.
They see themselves in this game.
Rachel McCulley looking rather tired, though, at this point. And here's Brown, speaking of explosive. And there's a miss. They do the right thing, finding McCulley. Decide not to give it to Froling inside, who had position on. Oh, and there's an attack.
Nice flash up through the elbow. Fowler gets the O board. And this will be Toowoomba ball out of bounds. Froling just rushed that shot a little bit. Just, come off, looked a little bit wonky.
Awkward, yep.
Yeah. And now Skinner goes to the bench with 3 minutes to go.
This surely is a quick breather. Surely a quick breather for them. Their only legitimate floor spacer so far.
Mind you, Twiddale's knocked down a couple of 3s out there, so Brown against Walsh.
Great.
Forced turnover, great help by Froling.
McCulley picks up the scrap, so I reckon if Lisa had collected that, McCulley will take it. Looks online for, oh, no good. Alex Fowler gets fouled, putting it back up. Great game of basketball this has turned into here. Fowler head to the line, shooting 2, looking to tie up the game.
This has been such a grindy, sort of slow game most of the game, and then Townsville's finally found a way to put some pace into it in this last quarter.
Yep. I reckon both coaches will have, a lot of good video to look at. Toowoomba would be really disappointed with their transition defense in the last 3 or 4 minutes, as they've been making buckets, or at least getting good looks out of it, and just allowing Alex Fowler to get all the way down the floor as she buries both free throws to tie it up at 74 apiece. This is something I'd like to see more out of Townsville, actually. Alicia Froling at the top of a press. I know that we watched some of those international games with the youth, and that French team with their big, long, 6'3" center at the front of their arrow press.
Mike, I still have nightmares with that press from the 17 World Championships.
Oh. McCulley to Froling converts, and Townsville takes the lead after trailing by as much as 11.
Look, they've trailed from probably halfway through the second quarter.
And they isolate Brown on Walsh.
Money with that pull-up jumper going right.
Yeah.
You have to push her left, obviously, in that circumstance.
And I don't know what Toowoomba is paying Anita Brown, but it is money well spent at this point. You want your go-to players to be able to have the confidence and the talent to be able to knock down those types of jumpers. I know that Masai Ujiri had the confidence to go to get a guy like Kawhi Leonard to be able to make those exact type of plays.
Got him in the fire sale from the Spurs.
Kind of worked out for us.
Fowler misses the first. Missed opportunity perhaps here.
Makes the second. Townsville takes a 1-point lead. I'd like to see Walsh a little bit further up on Brown here.
Oh, Toowoomba got lucky out of that.
Oh, they're going to call a foul.
Called on Alex Fowler. That's her 5th foul.
A big block from, credit to John Fenwick here. As much as I have a hard time with referees at times, head straight for Luke Brennan, allowing the chance to have a chat.
And that takes Fowler out of the game. Toowoomba to the line through Wilson, looking to take the lead. And Skinner is back into the game for Toowoomba, that quick sub that we talked about.
Yep. Well, we recognize that they have, maybe 3.5 offensive weapons here, and they're all on the floor now when it matters.
And we're all tied again, minute 51 to go. OT, Mike, what are you calling?
No, I think Townsville's inside game is going to end up punishing them in the end. Oh, they're going to say Perry.
There on Perry, and this will walk Toowoomba down the other end for 2 free throws.
And is that a foul on King? I'm not sure if she's gone to the line yet tonight. But there's opportunities here, I think, for Townsville to exploit certain key matchups.
King is 3 of 5 from the line, but it isn't her. It's actually Twiddale down to the foul line. Oh. She's 0 of 1 so far from the stripe.
They sub Wilson out and they send Watson back in.
Rachel McCulley just slowing things down here, asking for a little bit of floor cleaning to be done.
What a veteran move. I have 100% confidence there's actually no humidity on the floor there. And I suppose if I stood over there dripping sweat as well.
Airballed free throw right there, Mike St. Maurice. The yips set in and missed both.
Great foul.
Great foul.
All tied at 77 here.
Deflection by Brown, but Townsville come back up with it through Perry. Brennan finds Froling, but throws it at her ankles. It will now be a jump ball. It is Townsville's ball, but it's only 5 seconds on the shot clock.
They'll get some floor wiping, and they'll get organized in the action that they want here. They've been running a really nice pick-to-picker action early on that got any of their bigs the looks that they wanted. So
Toowoomba need to really communicate these picks here, make sure they don't leave someone open.
They give it to Perry, to Brennan. 3 on the clock. Forced to take a shot.
In the bank.
In the triple.
And Townsville lead by 3, a minute 10 to go.
You gotta be good to be lucky. You gotta be lucky to be good sometimes. So
Brown Townsville sending 3 bodies at her.
Just to get the ball out of her hands. Wow,
King, that is explosive. Great move.
Absolutely.
9 through 2 players. She needs to do that more.
Yeah, like we thought her game was one-dimensional, off the block, spin move and whatnot, but the 2 times she's made some perimeter catches.
Foul called there on Brown. She thought she got the clean strip, just got a little bit of McCulley's body, and McCulley will now go to the foul line for 2 shots. The Flames leading by 1.
Clutch free throws here coming up for McCulley. She'll shoot 2 with her team ahead by 1. 45 seconds on the clock. Unlike Pascal Siakam, who missed his first in Game 6 with less than a minute to play, McCulley buries hers. Have a drink at home.
2 for McCulley. And the Flames by 3. No timeout called there by Toowoomba. He's leaving 1 in the bank still.
Foul on Froling, just throwing the leg out.
Toowoomba will go to the foul line here now through Brown.
So Townsville have got 35 seconds. They've got a 3-point lead. They've got 2 timeouts left.
Yes, and Toowoomba with 1.
Toowoomba with 1. So Mark Roble, over to you. You are up by maybe 1 after this free throw. You've got a potential 2-for-1 situation here with 2 timeouts. Do you take advantage of it?
I think you take the timeout, and to me, you take it in the back door. Missed free throw there, so 2-point.
Well, now that the call is going to be on the floor about whether you're going to go for 2-for-1. Oh, and they decide to foul early there. Not necessarily a bad decision. The way that Townsville has been rebounding the ball.
So free throws here for Townsville to try and get this out to 4 beyond 1 shot. 26 seconds.
Toowoomba coach really hasn't signaled to the bench that he wants a timeout coming out of this free throw situation as Lisa Brennan buries the first. Actually, I don't think he's taking a timeout either coming out if she...
Rebound there on the miss. So 3-point game, 1
Full
possession game. Toowoomba.
Oh, hesitation. Skinner giving it up to King inside. Spin move, left hand. No good. Tipped around. Froling comes up with it. Parry to Brennan. Oh.
Foul call here.
Are they gonna do the I hate this?
I think they're thinking about it. And look, I've got to say there was legitimately no play at the ball there. It was a grab from behind, so that is called unsportsmanlike. McCulley was past her and she just literally put 2 hands on her hips to grab her. So I probably don't have as big an issue with that one.
No, I suppose it's a clear interpretation of the rule. I just wish they would remove it. Whether she's in front or behind, we all know in these situations we're looking to foul.
Sorry, my correction was Brennan obviously in front, not McCulley. McCulley was one pleading for the unsportsmanlike. Misses both. So 7 seconds here. And Coach Luke Brennan calls a timeout now.
Okay.
Up 3, 7 seconds to go.
Does he have his best free throw shooting lineup out there? Or does he just stick with the players who have been in this comeback, who have gotten the lead back for Townsville?
Look, I think you stick with the group that's in there, but you just got to be conscious of who you want making this catch. You know, like it's...
Brennan's now missed 2 free throws in a row.
Missed 2 back-to-back, so you put her in the inbounder spot maybe so that she's, you know, a wise old head. She can get the ball where it needs to be. You know, McCulley iced those couple of free throws before, getting the ball into her hands. Walsh is normally fairly reliable from the foul line.
Yep. Really, you just need to make one in this. Well, you need to get the ball in without a turnover. And then you need to make 1 of the 2 free throws, assuming they get it in, to just make it a 2-possession game and pretty much ice the game.
Yep, correct. So they use those 2 big bodies out there with Perry and Froling. Maybe get a double screen action or something going to get McCulley free. That would probably be my look first up. Unless he uses McCulley to inbound just with her veteran passing skills to make sure the ball gets to the right spot as well.
And they still have another timeout, so I suppose if he wanted a timeout, Luke Brennan here before the ball gets inbounded, he could signal to the official bench, and as opposed to the NBA.
Could take the double timeout here, but he's chosen not to. Froling to inbound. And that's definitely the foul, McCulley, and that's another foul, but that'll be just a normal foul, I would suggest.
Yep. Just a pushing foul.
Only 0.7 seconds taken out of the clock there, though, so Toowoomba probably get their first goal without getting a steal.
Yep. Quick foul if they're going to get it in. Force Townsville to make 2 free throws.
McCulley off the front of the rim, but takes the friendly roll.
Yep. And that should do it for Townsville. You know, provided they don't foul here, just tip it, keep it alive. Like Kawhi Leonard said, just keep it alive. Give him less time on the clock.
That's another drink for players playing at home. Well, Townsville, I'm going to say, get out of jail here tonight.
Absolutely. The team was 1-8. They lost big to Cairns last night. They had to travel. Credit to Toowoomba. What a great performance they put on here tonight.
So the Townsville Flames defeat the Toowoomba Mountaineers 84-80 in the end. Leading scorer for Townsville was Courtney Perry with 18, Alicia Froling 17, Lisa Brennan 17, and Alex Fowler ending up with 15 off the bench with that little spurt where McCulley kept finding her on transition in the fourth quarter. So just looking at that, McCulley 12 assists for the game,
okay. Yep.
and only 1 turnover. That's what you want out of your point guard.
Absolutely.
So,
and for someone to just be parachuted into that situation.
So for Toowoomba, outstanding game by Anita Brown. 35 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Great stat line and great impact on the game. Couldn't have asked any more from her. Skinner was hot early, went off a little bit, ended up with 17, and King with 13. Final look around those other games. Rockhampton get the win at home over Mackay, 67-62. Gold Coast ended up with a 20-point win over Southwest, 88.
Congratulations, Cassie Dover. Well done.
The Phoenix get the win over the North Gold Coast Seahawks, who's been in some great form lately, so that's a big win for the Phoenix, 87-81. And then the two earlier games we had tonight, we had the Southern District Spartans winning 83-58 over the Brisbane Capitals.
District showing themselves again this year as the championship favourites to repeat.
And Ipswich with the 83-81 victory over Logan.
And we saw Georgia May Williams, now Georgia Ralph, congratulations on their wedding. Iced 2 free throws when it mattered to take the lead in that game.
So we'll take a short break here from Townsville Basketball Stadium. We'll be back in 16 minutes is on the warm-up clock right now for the Townsville Heat and the Toowoomba Mountaineers men's fixture. Speak to you soon.